Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, February 14th, 2019. So let us begin. Thanks for tuning in, my friends. Happy Valentine's Day for everyone, all the lovebirds out there. Yeah, interesting, a Roman pagan holiday to be exact. I don't really celebrate it, so I like to have fun with folks that do. Yes, today's the anniversary of the horrific massacre that happened in Parkland, Florida. Marjory Stoneman Douglas Senior High School. Innocent people lost their lives. And it's absolutely disturbing. You got folks, the tyrants try to politicize it, regardless of party. Try to solve little quick issues, which are considered unconstitutional under the Florida Constitution. The Public Safety Act, when they want to say, oh, we could have 3-day waiting period on rifles and 21 and over to purchase it. But that's a good idea. So no, it's illegal because it has to go through a constitutional amendment. It has to be added on to Article 1, Section 8 of that particular document. I voted on that. I voted against the 3-day waiting period in 1988 and the local options on 98. There are multiple laws, whether it's federal, state, and local, do not protect the innocent lives that occur over there. Some people still may call it a false flag. Like I said before, false flag events doesn't mean no one died. Okay? And you got still folks out there who are pushing for more tyrannical referendums. It's not safety, it's tyranny. When you look at a long view perspective. I'm still reading the Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Commissions. And I gotta say one thing. So for what I read, a lot of fallacies occurred. That's how I look at things too, and I do my reviews, multiple books and so forth. Too many flaws, and it came to light when it was released January 2nd of this year. And of course, respecting your neighbors, loving them as you love yourself. Doesn't matter what your creed it is. Ostracizing someone can lead to blowback. Always said too, how deep does a rabbit hole go? Very deep so far. However, I'm going to be reading something here from AmericanThinker.com. So mainly be talking about this one particular subject. Before I pursue this, I'd like to send all my condolences to all the folks whose loved ones passed on this day. May their souls be forever free, and make sure they don't die and their legacy won't perish in vain. Alright. This one here is entitled, Parkland 1 Year Later, Lots of Talk, Little Action. It is by Richard Logus. I live 9 miles from Parkland, Florida. Weeks after Nicholas Cruz murdered 14 students and 3 staffers at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, I wrote that Cruz was a byproduct of it takes a village guaranteed to fail Democrat outcomes. 1 year later, few have been held accountable, but the Democrat anti-gun cult has strengthened. I'll just say this. Looks like Richard Logus and myself, we do live in South Florida, so I preside in Fort Lauderdale, so I'm not far from that facility itself. I will proceed. Most of the same dysfunctional officials in charge at the time of all shootings still running the Despottian show in Broward County, which is Florida's version of New York City and San Francisco. I say that's pure blasphemy. There was one positive exception. Broward Sheriff Scott Israel was removed last month from his post by newly elected Governor DeSantis. Israel, whose monthly salary was $16,000, will appeal his exile. That's going to be happening in March. And I'll let you know this too. I did not vote for Ron DeSantis. However, I've read Executive Order 19-14 on his removal of Scott Israel. It was all under prima facie just cause. And he did use allege as well, because that's very strategic. So all you folks out there, if you're not so sure, read it. Because sometimes, like I noticed, Scott Israel may be contradicting that document. As it reads here, Parkland was the perfect storm of collective failure. The FBI failed to follow up on Cruz on several occasions. Obama educational standards enacted without Congress's approval and designed to reduce minorities' encounters with law enforcement. Peddle lacks disciplinary standards for troubled students. That's the Promise program. Federal overreach. 10th Amendment issue. Any questions? Look up Federalist Papers 46, once again by James Madison. The Broward County Public Schools were aware for over a year of Cruz's school shooting obsession. And not only did Israel's deputies fail to act on several tips about Cruz's alleged violent tendencies, but they also failed to act the day of the measure. Post-Parkland, Israel proclaimed himself as an amazing leader. In the aftermath of such a shocking event, it is somewhat difficult to view events through the lens of real time, as law enforcement and Parkland officials were receiving tips and statements from Cruz's classmates. Though it was smaller in scale than the September 11, 2001 Islamic terror attacks. I always say it was the New World Order agenda. The same questions were asked about Parkland. What went wrong, and how do we prevent this from happening again? I agree with them on that one, for sure. It's accurate that local law enforcement were somewhat limited in their ability to stop Cruz due to state laws that make it difficult for police to arrest those who make threats against non-family members or non-specific targets. There is proposed legislation to broaden law enforcement's preempt powers, which a good amount of it is very dangerous, like the red flag laws. How Democrats respond to tragedies is their Rorschach test. The legacy of Broward Schools is Superintendent Robert Runcie, which he is Obama's buddy from Chicago, and Israel, who is a member of Homeland Security, federalized sheriff, could we say a conflict of interest, is that they've attempted to cover up their egregious incompetence by exploiting the tragedy in an attempt to further infringe upon our God-given right, constitutionally guaranteed Second Amendment rights. I'd like to add in that, my friends, at the Florida Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Basic Rights. Add that to the memo, please. Runcie claimed he was unaware of Cruz's threats to shoot up the school, which was an astounding omission considering that Broward County schools have the highest rate of students who brandish weapons on school grounds among all South Florida school districts. Some Parkland parents thrust their traumatized kids into the roles of activists and forced them to the unusual Democrat and DMIC, Democratic Media Industrial Complex, lies, myths, and conspiracy theories of the anti-gun cult. The psychophanic DMIC fawned all over them. We shouldn't be angry at the kids who have been initiated into the anti-gun cult. They've been duped into believing that their gun policy and the Bill of Rights experts who really know what James Madison meant when he penned the Second Amendment. Could we say Pol Pot syndrome, or the children of the killing fields reincarnated? It takes a village, kills indiscriminately. Parkland is a city of 24,000, mostly upper middle class and affluent whites. Whites is not quite as blue as the rest of Broward. It's still primarily a Democrat city. Its mayor and city council are nonpartisan, although we know there's really no such thing as nonpartisan. But its state attorney, state house representative, and U.S. representative Ted Deutsch are all Democrats. You recall Deutsch's appearance at CNN's town hall a few weeks after the shooting, which gave him primetime platform to promote his weapons of war nonsense. I am no way suggesting that the Parkland community got what they deserve. As a parent of two daughters, their anguish is unfathomable to me. Cruz should have never been able to make his way onto the school grounds because he didn't attend the school. If a district can't stop known potential violent offenders, why should anyone trust it to stop unknown potential offenders? By sampling small, but in 10 conversations with Parkland parents, if asked if they would have agreed preschool shooting with moderate to heavy security at all entry and egress points on the Marjory Stoneman Douglas campus, everyone told me no. No security is found only in schools in the ghetto. They said, and Parkland ain't the ghetto, not with a household median annual income of $131,340. An estimate median house valued of $596,212, according to the 2016 U.S. Census. Those same parents have also told me that complete strangers still have unhindered access to school grounds most of the day, save for the occasional patrol of local police and school resource officers. What about armed teachers? One of the recommendations of the Parkland Commission's report. I am sympathetic to parents' ambivalence about armed teachers. But for Obama and Clinton's and Bloomberg's of America, who are adamantly opposed to armed teachers and access to firearms for school personnel, why is it that when they visit a school or a hospital or place of worship, they insist on having their Secret Service detail or armed bodyguards accompany them? It's impossible to know, but if an armed teacher or staffer had been in the immediate vicinity of Cruz when he began opening fire, chances are Cruz would have been stopped and there would have been 0 or fewer victims. The Parkland mass shooting was unrevering as well as bloody, raw red meat for Democrats and the DMIC, because it occurred in a place where it wasn't supposed to, namely a Tony progressive white Democrat locale. Shootings in Baltimore, Newark, or Chicago, or some other city run by a supermajority Democrat rule for tens of thousands of consecutive days. Business as usual, just another day in the ghetto. It takes a village results in kids killing kids. Republican conservative communities are in no way immune to violent crime, but time and time again it has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt that whether Democrats control the local power structure, government, and education, death and suffering follow. Are Nicholas Cruzes everywhere? Can legally purchase his firearm, but the vast majority of gun-related crimes is committed by those illegally possessing guns. The same student who told the school district about Cruz's school shooting threat told police after the shooting that Cruz had planned to purchase a firearm privately. He had told this detail in the school district. Would have made any more of a difference? Doubtful. When threats to school shootings are made, especially by those with a troubled history, should they be monitored by law enforcement with evidence of warrants? Fifth Amendment and 14th Amendment due process and equal protection are guaranteed rights. Had all agencies paid more attention to Cruz, I believe they would have likely prevented the horror of February 14, 2018 without having violated Cruz's constitutional rights. In the Broward Village, the village idiots haven't done much over the years to protect innocent kids from their problem children. Death and youth victimization are always found in municipal Democratic monopolies. I hope and pray that Broward and Parkland residents figure out this quickly before more innocent children die. We can only wonder how many Nicholas Cruzes there are among our loved ones. Based on some of the partisan rhetoric, he's absolutely right in a lot of areas. And many of you folks out there who hear my past episodes pertaining to Parkland, I put a lot of facts out. And I don't know if everyone out there examine them, thank you. That's how we have to do things. Those are facts, not rhetoric, not opinions or assumptions. What happened on a horrific day still infuriates me. And I even told people, what are those parasites learn about 9/11? Not a damn thing. They haven't learned anything from Columbine either. And I still never got my request on receiving the information from the Broward School Board about that concert, the school resource officers. Freedom of information, my friends. Everyone in Florida and Broward County, anyone around the country, should ask for it. One thing I can't stand the most are witch-hunting parasites. They're cowards. A lot of good people suffer from their pretentious exhibitions. Like I said, I'm going to add that to the footnotes as well on that Stoneman Douglas Commission's report, Safety Commission's report. It is very essential to everyone reading it, because without the partisan politics, we have to look at the bigger picture. I'm still reading it. I'm taking my time, but I'm trying to absorb much of it as possible. This is why I get infuriated when you got these clowns, treasonous clowns, want to take away our natural born rights, including Scott Israel. He is never my sheriff. Never. Based on his little fiasco he did, I held my ground. I could tell you this, friends. I've been vindicated. Wish him well on his hearing with the Senate, because you have to back up your facts to get reinstated. If you're going to run again for 2020, don't even waste your time, Sheriff Israel. It will backfire on you. Mark my words. If you lose the primaries, you'll be just another Nick Navarro from that when he lost the primaries against Jim Howard in 1992. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or we send something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please feel free to share your correspondences with decorum. Plus, I'm going to use this as my footnotes on my contacts and this information on my Spreaker page. Here, you get it on YouTube as well, and many others. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.